you're 33 years of age, you're at Newcastle, and you're working under Eddie Howe. Yeah. Why Newcastle? Because at the time it was questioned, wasn't it? You left definitely. Almost like, why was it Newcastle? Why here?
Yeah, so when I was in Madrid, obviously it was the season before I left. It was a tough year for me for numerous reasons. And then I just wanted to come back to England. My family, was finding it a bit difficult at the time. I could have stayed at Madrid. I could have signed a new 3-year contract at Madrid. Simeone in the car park the day I was leaving didn't want me to go, but it was the right thing at the right time for my family. And as players, you gotta, be realistic where you can go. So I weren't going to go and sign for City, Liverpool. I knew I was restricted to certain clubs.
Manchester United came in though, didn't they?
No, United did straight after the Euros, and that was very close. Obviously, growing up being a Red as well with all my family, but it didn't happen. Everything happens for a reason. So
what happened? It fell away at the last minute, or
no? To be fair, it just fell away really. I think Ollie was the manager at the time, and everything seemed perfect. I was absolutely, chuffed. It's Man United, biggest club in the world, and it didn't happen. So I was back at Madrid. It's not a bad place to go back to, is it? So and then 6 months later, I was at Newcastle. But obviously everyone raised their eyebrows. Obviously, he's going for the money. He's going for this. I've made it clear many times I took less money coming to Newcastle than I did at Madrid. I didn't have a relegation clause, even the position that we're in. I trusted the manager, and that was a key factor why I came.
When I've watched Newcastle over the last 18 months, it's been quite clever what they've done in terms of off the pitch, not going crazy, but being quite methodical and quite stable in the way in which they've approached it, the ownership. Bringing Eddie in, who again I think mirrors that sort of value, and then thinking about you on the pitch in the last 12 to 18 months, thinking you mirror it on the pitch, that sort of ethos. Do you feel like that, the standard bearer on the pitch?
Yeah, I think when I first signed, there was going for a tough moment. Obviously, we got beat by Cambridge, my first game, and you could see around the place where it was just about believing. And then we signed good characters, as you mentioned. We signed Dan Burn, great leader, Geordie, run through a brick wall in the situation he was in, Matty Target, myself, Bruno, who's been, remarkable. So I think at the time it was about bringing the right character in for the team, for the squad. Because I've been in a dressing room before, as I'm not saying you may have as well, where sometimes if one has an ego, it's like a domino effect then, and that's dangerous for a team.
Particularly with senior players.
Yeah, so the players that we signed was perfect for that season. Unfortunately, I broke my foot that year, which I was devastated about. Yeah. But what the team went on to do was incredible, and the manager's like a big believer in that. Standards, always respect the staff, kit men, whatever it may be. So he's certainly set the tone, and I've worked for him before as well, and he demands a lot from me, and to try and help the players around me.
You've played for managers actually that've got a thread. You think about Sean Dyche and the sort of image that he has, Pochettino, Simeone, Eddie Howe. Non-negotiables are work ethic.
100%.
Attitude, being a good, if you like, teammate.
Yeah.
Would you say it's fair, that, isn't it, to say?
No, definitely. And all 4 managers that you just mentioned, they all demand that you run, that you work hard for the team, regardless of the result. You always go to the end. And I think that's what you've seen for Newcastle. We're a high pressing team with high demands. And every manager that I work for demand that. They demand that you work hard, you're respectful around the place. Yeah, and I've learned a lot about myself recently. Hugo Lloris, Harry Kane, top pros. This is going to be tough. Hopefully this summer will be my 4th tournament. I've absolutely loved every moment of it. I wasn't professional, shall we say.
What was that, a couple of pints?
Yeah, more than a couple.
So I want to talk about fitness. I remember my record running, because we started to do the running stats. You'll have all these stats now. I think just before, sort of towards the end of my career, I think I'd done 11.6 or 7k in a game. I'd done 800-900. I think the record I'd done was 800-900 of high intensity, or just under 1,000. But what's your sort of average sort of like distance?
About 12k.
12k's average.
12k a game probably.
And high intensity would be.
God, I don't know off the top of my head. It's a lot. My high intensity, it's a lot, to be fair.
Over 800-900?
Yeah, probably. D-cell excels a lot, especially the way that we play. Well, like fullbacks are these days against the wingers that you're up against. So the stats now are through the roof, and I think now you have to run. That's a given.
I read a couple of days ago, coming into this interview, that you were put in some chamber. Was it
Tottenham.
Yeah, Tottenham.
Altitude chamber, yeah.
altitude chamber because you were overweight.
Yeah, so
There's nothing on you.
no, not now. There's not. But back then, looking back at some pictures, I look like I swallowed about 3 pillars. But when I was
So
at Burnley,
what would your weight have been when you came from sort of Burnley to Tottenham? Then?
probably when I was at Burnley, I'd probably about 76, 77 kilos.
Oh, I'm showing my age. Having stones.
Yeah, so now I'm about 70, 71. Now.
So you lost 6 kilos.
From back then, yeah. So obviously when I was at Burnley, it was
like a stone. That is it.
Yeah, probably more than that. Yeah. But when I was at Burnley, it's like you look at nutrition, you look at.
Was it pies? Was it pies and chips basically?
I just think if you look then, like the resources that we had at Burnley was nothing compared to what I had at Tottenham. And I was
the nutrition advice and things
definitely.
like that?
And I was in for a big shock because when I was at Burnley, it was I wasn't professional, shall we say.
What was that? Like a couple of pints?
Yeah, well, more than a couple. 2-3 days a week probably. But yeah, and then when I went to Tottenham, I didn't realise. Obviously, you walk in and you see Hugo Lloris, Harry Kane, top pros.
Yeah.
And it probably took me the first week where I thought,
You're blowing a bit.
This is going to be tough. And then I was in the chamber for about a good 5-6 months. Jesus put us in there after training. The training was relentless.
Also, Maurizio's, but Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Perez, yeah.
We stuck you in an altitude chamber.
Yeah, in the inside after every session.
For how long?
Good, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes.
What, just literally just
yeah,
like
so
fat burning type
yeah,
stuff?
Yeah, fat burning, so we'd be on the treadmill, then we'd be on the rower, and then we would...
Who's we?
I might as well throw him under the bus. Yeah, there was me, Toby, Sonny was in there a couple of times.
What? Son that plays football for Tottenham now? Yeah. There's nothing on him.
Yeah, Sonny was in there. But we all signed in the same window, you see.
Oh, so you
all
okay?
Like, yeah, so we had Kevin Vimmer at the time. All 4-5 was at the same window, so it was like, right, yeah, we're all in for a shock here. But it was relentless, it was tough. But then after 6 months, you get used to it.
Was that the biggest shift in professionalism that you had in your life?
Definitely. I think moving from the area that I was from, like, I'm not saying my mates are to blame or anything. I'm saying far from that. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me moving to London at the time.
I was mocked ridiculously about 3 months ago off Jamie Carragher and Roy Keane actually. I don't know, you might not, you won't have seen it. Where I said that I had to almost split from my friends from the area that I was when I was younger because the priorities of them was that they were just, for them it's normal to go and have 3-4 pints or eat a bar of chocolate or chippy. If I did that, I'm done.
Yeah. And
so I had to almost like in some ways put blinkers on.
I still speak to some of them now, but I was sort of blinded from it at the time where, I was doing all right at Burnley and I was going out thinking it's the right thing to do. But when I moved to London with my wife, looking back now is the best thing that ever happened in my career for sure.
Just getting out of that sort of...
Getting out of that area, living on, just on our own, we didn't know anybody. Not just going out for drinks or whatever it may be, but it was the best thing that happened.
Did you put an altitude chamber in your house or did you?
I didn't need to. The weight dropped straight off me when I was at Tottenham.
To be perfect every day in what you eat, what you drink, how you rest, how you recover, all the things that you're asked of. It's almost like a sort of military regime every single day. I got to sort of 35 and I felt like, I can't do this anymore.
No, yeah.
You're nowhere near that at this moment in time. You feel like you're still sort of, if you like, thinking there's sort of 3, 4, 5 years left. Is that where you're at in your mind?
No, 100%. And, I go in every single day looking forward to training. It's never once crossed my mind about when I'm going to finish. Of course, the international side, okay, more so for sure. But
do you think you will finish after this tournament?
You never know. I never want to say. Yeah. I'm one of those where I never probably come out officially and retire. I'll always be there if.
Yeah.
If I'm needed.
Is it harder to go away? Is it because that's September, October, November, March, summer, and then you're on the roundabout spinning all the time, aren't you? And it is tough.
No, it is, and especially when you probably see like lads, probably having a week off and that. But you get used to it, and when I get called up for England, it's actually, it's such a big honour. No, I absolutely love it, and to represent the country, and hopefully this summer will be my 4th tournament. If I go, I've absolutely loved every moment of it, and sometimes you've got to be realistic as well. I'm 34 in September. I'm up against top quality right backs or left back if I'm playing there. So it could be my last tournament if I'm picked. No guarantees. I think it's gone down to 23 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to perform at the highest level because again I'm up against probably one of the toughest positions in the squad.